Joining me now is Labor's member for Kingston in South Australia, Amanda Rishworth. Good morning.
Good morning, Callum.
Do you think this week, Amanda Rishworth, that we've seen meaningful progress on gay marriage?
Look, I do think there has been meaningful progress. I think from what you've seen from Labor is a intention to bring a bill to the Parliament, a bill that could indeed legalise same-sex marriage here in Australia. And hopefully we will see Tony Abbott grant his MPs a conscience vote. Up until now, Tony Abbott has imposed his will on his members of Parliament. However, if he does get rolled in the party room and his members of Parliament are afforded a conscience vote, we could see same-sex marriage here in Australia sooner rather than later.
Now, a number of Liberal MPs are on the record as supporting marriage equality, and they say that what will help get the issue over the line in their party room is a bill that's co-sponsored by a number of parties. Given this, I guess it's a positive move that Graham Perrott, for instance, has signalled his intention to co-sponsor a bill.
Well, let's be really clear. Tanya Plibersek has put out a bill inviting a co-sponsor from the Liberal Party. We had no one come forward to co-sponsor that bill. So from the Liberal Party, we have seen, I think, a bit of inertia despite there being MPs that are on the record saying that they would support same-sex marriage if it came to the Parliament and they were afforded a conscience vote from Tony Abbott. So I think up until now, we probably haven't seen Liberal Party members willing to stick their head up on this issue. None of them have been willing to co-sponsor Tanya Plibersek's bill. I would like to see, obviously, a bill of some sort come to the Parliament, and I hope that the Liberal Party will indeed be given a conscience vote, because I think that is a very important step, and B, we will see a bill, whether it's Bill Shorten or Tanya Plibersek, whether it's another bill pass the Parliament. But up until now, we haven't seen Liberal members being willing to co-sponsor a bill.
So these Liberal MPs that we've spoken to who support gay marriage say that it's more likely that a bill co-sponsored by parties across the Parliament will be the one that legislates for gay marriage.
Well, look, what Bill Shorten and I think Tanya Plibersek have done is bring the issue to a head. A few weeks ago, Tony Abbott wasn't saying that he would afford, or he wasn't even inferring he would afford his Liberal members a conscience vote. We're now starting to see more pressure put on him. So I think what Bill Shorten and Tanya Plibersek have done is bring this issue to a head. Now, where it ends up, I think the Labor Party has been very clear. We're happy to talk to any parties that want to get this issue done and legislated in the Parliament. But up until now, we haven't seen those MPs being willing to co-sponsor a bill. I hope that we'll see some momentum and those MPs putting their hand up, willing to be part of this process.
The Prime Minister did signal a shift in his rhetoric on the issue. He said it was an important issue and one that the Parliament should own. So I guess as a supporter of marriage equality, that's something you'd welcome.
Well, certainly he's a little late to the party, and I think what he's realised is, once again, he's a bit behind the eight ball when it comes to issues. But what I'm sure he's picking up is that there is a mood for change and a mood within his party room. But he is quite late on the issue. Last time this issue came to the Parliament, Tony Abbott refused to grant his MPs a conscience vote, and you had people like, for example, Malcolm Turnbull saying he would vote for it if he had been granted a conscience vote, but is not going to vote for it. So Tony Abbott, look, certainly a little late, certainly welcome his change of rhetoric, but one needs to see whether or not he actually follows through with it and whether he actually does grant his MPs a conscience vote. It's time for him really to step up on this issue, but I think he is a little late on it.
Okay, so there's still this impasse here. So Labor says that the Liberals need to grant their party room a conscience vote. The Liberal Party is saying that Bill Shorten has politicised the issue by proceeding with a private member's bill ahead of a bill that would be co-sponsored by all sides of Parliament.
Well, let's be really clear. There was no talk of a co-sponsored bill before Bill Shorten put his motion up to the House, or his bill up to the House. There was no discussion that I'm aware of a co-sponsored bill coming to the Parliament anytime soon. So what Bill Shorten has done, I think, has been actually using the momentum from the decision in Ireland to actually, use that to actually get this issue legislated in the Parliament. It's only since Bill Shorten's done that have we seen MPs starting to say that they would like to see a co-sponsored bill. The question would be, why didn't any of those MPs respond to Tanya's call for a co-sponsor of her bill? So I think in terms of the politicisation, I think that the Liberal Party members accusing Bill of this really have been caught unaware, and I have to say there was no momentum for this really from the Liberal side of politics or the coalition side of politics until Bill Shorten put this bill in, or foreshadowed that he would put this bill before the Parliament. But, Labor, I'm sure, will talk to any party that wants to actually get this legislated and get this done.
So what do you think is the most likely form of marriage equality bill will take? Do you think it will be Bill Shorten's bill, or a bill co-sponsored by cross parties that will ultimately legislate for marriage equality?
Well, look, the only bill that's been foreshadowed at the moment is Bill Shorten's bill. There's been talk about perhaps another bill emerging, but I haven't. That isn't before the Parliament. So, look, I'm sure that what we all hope for is a bill that will have a vote, and that those MPs on the coalition side will be afforded a conscience vote. I do think that is the only way in which we will see marriage equality legislated in this Parliament. So whichever bill it is, at the moment I'm only aware of one bill that has been foreshadowed. There has been talk perhaps about others, but only one bill that's been foreshadowed, and that's Bill Shorten's. But I think the importance is the essence of that bill, and that is a bill that does legalise marriage equality, and I think that's the important essence. But without Bill Shorten doing this, I don't think we would see the momentum at the moment that this issue has had, and I don't think we would have seen the change in rhetoric from this Prime Minister. So
you don't think that world events have played any part in progressing this issue in Australia? The referendum in a conservative Catholic country in Ireland, the fact that Australia is now the only English-speaking country where gay marriage isn't legalised. You think it's all Bill Shorten's efforts on this?
No. Without a doubt that obviously the momentum built as a result of the Irish referendum has played a role, but I think it's important to note that Bill Shorten has now acted to galvanise that momentum in the public and hopefully in the Parliament, and I think this has been a really important step that Bill Shorten has taken, and Tanya, and it's been an issue that I hope will come for a decision to the Parliament. But as I said, without a conscience vote afforded to Liberal members of Parliament, I think we are going to unfortunately see this fail.
We saw reports that Graham Perrott, Warren Entsch and Sarah Hanson-Young were willing to work together on a bill to co-sponsor a bill. We've seen Liberal MPs that support gay marriage saying that that's the most likely way this will proceed. Is it important for Labor to concede this and to recognise where the will of the Parliament is on this?
We'll have a look at and work with any party that actually puts a bill forward, or any groups that put a bill forward, but I need to stress there isn't a bill before the Parliament at the moment, apart from the one foreshadowed to be tabled on Monday by Bill Shorten. So, look, if there's a number of bills in the Parliament...
OK, then, Amanda Richworth, can I ask you, if either bill co-sponsored by these three is put to Parliament, what do you think Labor should do then?
Well, certainly, I think if the bill represents achieving marriage equality and the selection committee chooses to vote on that bill before Bill Shorten's bill, of course, the issue will come to a head and people will vote according to what they believe in. But quite frankly, I haven't seen any bill, and until Tony Abbott does afford his MPs a conscience vote, it shouldn't be whether or not whose bill it is in the Parliament that Tony Abbott decides whether or not to grant his MPs a conscience vote. This should be a decision that he, made some time ago, but certainly needs to make a call now before there's any actual vote in the Parliament. It needs to be something, I think, that that Tony Abbott has to allow his members a conscience vote on.
Just finally, there's thousands of same-sex couples wishing to get married. They have friends, family, loved ones who want that right as well. It must be pretty unedifying for people on that side of the debate to see this political debate in impasse when there's clearly a number of people who agree on the need for the issue. They just can't agree how to do it.
Well, I would say that until Tony Abbott affords a conscience vote, Warren Entsch or any of the other members on the Liberal side of politics don't get to vote the way that they believe. So until Tony Abbott comes out and says, yes, you can have a conscience vote, I'm not entirely sure that they'll be able to put their name to a co-sponsored bill. I'm not sure what the rules say in the Liberal Party, but I'm not sure you can co-sponsor a bill. You may be able to if you have been told that you cannot vote for it. So,
but if you, Amanda Rishworth, if you care so much about Tony Abbott granting the Liberal Party a conscience vote, why don't you proceed with a bill which the Liberal Party has flagged has the greatest likelihood of getting support in the Liberal Party?
Well, I'm not sure where the issue is. Bill Shorten said, I'm going to table a bill. We'll see if another bill comes in front.
Well, the issue is that Liberal Party MPs are saying that the bill that has the greatest likelihood of getting the support from their party and a conscience vote is a bill that's co-sponsored by parties across the Parliament. That's the issue.
If something comes in front of the Parliament, then certainly we'll have a look at it. There is no bill actually in front of the Parliament. And let's be clear, Tanya Plibersek had called for a co-sponsor to her bill legislating marriage equality, and no one came forward. So I think it's the issue is I think the first step has to be Tony Abbott providing a conscience vote. But in terms of getting this done, what I think Bill Shorten's done is created momentum for this to happen. We would all, well, not everyone, but a lot of people, certainly on our side of the Parliament, would like to see this be legislated sooner rather than later. So I think that building on that momentum, let's see what can bring a vote to the Parliament. But of course, what we would like to see is this legislated sooner rather than later.
Okay, Amanda Rishworth, thanks for your time.
Thank you.